Hello everyone and welcome to the second episode of Impro at Cooking with Dopefish. Today we'll be making a tomato sauce with meatballs and spaghetti. And here are the ingredients I used for this recipe. This is a very flexible recipe and you do not have to use these ingredients. You can improvise however you want. Alright, so I'll be going over these ingredients in more detail using the signature Cooking with Dopefish shaky cam. So we're cooking meatballs with tomato sauce and spaghettis. It's pretty good, isn't it? Chopped up the mushroom rather coarsely with finely minced onion. We chopped up our Romantica tomatoes. Kept the peel on because it's really soft and it doesn't really matter. We have our frozen basil. We have a stock cube. We have some Parmesan cheese, the real stuff, grated. We have finely chopped garlic, beaten eggs, Tabasco, red chili flakes. We have Heinz tomato frito, which is a tomato sauce with onion and garlic. Finely crushed tomatoes with garlic. We have passarder. I'm not sure, like pureed tomatoes maybe. And we have some pesto, the green stuff. Some pasta. We will need a splash of milk, mix of pepper and salt. Some fresh basil. It's very hard to get good fresh basil in the winter, but yeah. We have some butter and rape oil for frying. We have some fine breadcrumbs, and of course we have some olive oil. Olive oil. And there is our collection of ingredients. And of course I forgot to film the probably most important ingredient for our meatballs: minced meat. This is a 50% beef, 50% pork mix. You can use whatever though, you can use 100% beef or 100% pork. It doesn't really matter, the flavor is a bit different, just go with whatever you like. Very well then, let's prepare our meatballs. You start off by putting breadcrumbs in a bowl. Add a splash of milk, some salt and some pepper. Mix it together and then just let it sit for a while. The breadcrumbs will soak up the milk and it'll make the meatballs a bit less dense. And then just add the minced meat to the mixture. And once it's all in there, it's time to mix it up. Now, you could use a wooden spoon at this point if you're like a retard or something. Just get your hands dirty, man. Come on, just use your hands. It's easy, it's good. Just make sure you wash and then everything will be fine. Once you've mixed in the breadcrumbs, it's time to add the eggs and then half of the chopped onion. And just give it a good mix around again, and we're almost ready to form our meatballs. It's really slimy, but that's fine. Just make sure you wash your hands. Alright, so it's time to make our meatballs. Now, I saw this technique online and I just had to test it out. It looks kind of weird, but it actually works pretty well. Now, I'm gonna reshape these balls later, so it doesn't matter if they're not perfectly round. But yeah, so take some of this minced meat, put it in your hand, form like a circle with your index finger and your thumb, and then squeeze with the rest of your fingers, and you'll have like a perfectly sized meatball right there. It looks kind of weird and slightly disgusting, but you can use the technique if you want, I don't really care. Anyway, just form all of your meatballs however you want, using this technique or another, and then make sure to reshape them if you want to, it doesn't really matter. Anyway, I put this on a baking sheet because we're gonna cook him in the oven, but you should really plan ahead a bit more than I did. Use one with edges. With edges? Is it called edges? Edges. Use a baking sheet with sides on it, because I had to transfer this later and it was kind of hard to do. But through the magic that is me, I actually managed to do it. If you have a bowl of water and you wet your hands a bit before you roll the meatballs, it's much easier to get them into a nice round shape. So that's a tip for when you're reforming your balls. Reforming your balls? Anyway, just form up your meatballs and you're gonna put them in the oven. And then we're gonna move on to the tomato sauce. The oven is on at 200-ish degrees. There they are. Alright, so we have the pan on at high heat, and we put in our butter and rape oil. And you're gonna add a little bit of olive oil to that as well, just for the flavor. And oh yeah, don't do that, by the way. And when you put in some olive oil, it doesn't splash as much as it does if you don't, which is always nice, right? Right. So just wait for that butter and oil to start bubbling, and then you add in the mushrooms. Make sure you salt them a little, and we're just gonna fry them until they are soft-ish, starting to go a bit golden maybe. And at that point we're going to add in our onions and do the same to those. Just salt a little bit and fry them until they are translucent, almost getting golden. Once the mushrooms and onions are at that point, we're going to add our garlic, stir that around, add our frozen basil, stir that around, and then we're going to add a bit of pesto and stir that around. Now, you don't want to fry the garlic too long, so make sure you hurry up a bit here. When the garlic gets burnt, it tastes really bad. So just add the ingredients, stir them in, and then move on to the next step, which is to add the tomatoes. Start with the regular chopped fresh tomatoes and then add the different kinds of tomato sauce. Now, when you poured in the tomato sauce out of one of these cartons, there's gonna be a lot of tomato sauce stuck in there. And we're gonna be adding water to this recipe anyway, so just fill these cartons up with water, give them a shake, and then just pour them into the pan. And that way you will get the maximum amount of tomato-ness out of all of these packets. Packages? Packages. Next up is adding some flavoring, whatever you want. I'm using some Tabasco here because I like it a bit spicy, and also some red hot chili flakes. And yeah, some salt and pepper, of course. You can add whatever you want. If you don't like spiciness, you can add something else. Just use your imaginations. Right, so you're just gonna boil this on low heat. Wait. Right, so you're just gonna simmer this on medium-low heat until your meatballs are done. And in the meantime, we're gonna cook the pasta. I'm not gonna show you that because you know how to cook pasta. But instead of salting the water, I'm gonna use this stock cube or bouillon cube. It gives the pasta a bit of a different flavor. I mean, it's not that much. You can skip it if you want, but I like it though. It's interesting. One very important thing to remember when you're cooking pasta like this: do not rinse the pasta. If you're pouring water on the pasta, you're doing something incredibly wrong. You really need the starchiness on the pasta to be there, because it helps kind of like catch the sauce. Anyway, once these meatballs are done in the oven, it took me about 20 minutes. Of course, you can just take one out, you know, cut it in the middle, and you'll see if it's done or not. Yeah, and once it's done, we're just gonna add them to the sauce, and then we're going to mix the pasta with the sauce. Don't worry about those little feet, by the way. That's just meat juices and fat that's kind of solidified under it. It'll just melt in the sauce and it's gonna be delicious, so don't worry about it looking kind of ugly.
Now that's just gorgeous. Put the pasta in the bowl. Just like that. No problems. Nice pasta. And add a little bit of this cheese here.
Now, that might not look like the most appetizing thing in the world, but trust me, once you put it up on your plate or a bowl, it's gonna look gorgeous. And of course the pasta is all covered in that delicious, aromatic and fragrant, tomato basil. God, I wish I had a plate right now. Oh, I should have saved some. Anyway, it's absolutely delicious. Unfortunately, I didn't film me actually plating this up, which of course I should have done, because that's like the money shot of cooking, man, when you put it on a plate and then it just... Anyway, here's the picture of the finished product, and I'm sorry about the basil. As I said, it's winter. There's no way you can get good looking basil here, so it's it looks a bit weird, but it tastes just like normal. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this video. I hope you all learned something, or at least had some fun watching this. Feel free to leave any comments you have below. If there's anything I can improve, please tell me. I'm always looking to improve. Anyway, this dish is absolutely delicious and I hope you try it out. Oh, and by the way, if you have any recipe suggestions or any suggestions of dishes I should cook, just send them to me as a YouTube PM or whatever. Alright, that's it for now. Bye bye, guys.
I have an audience.
Are you watching me cook? You're silly. Nej. Han vill också ha mat. I'll feed him.